Good morning. My name is Randall Hewlett. I'm a mechanical engineer and aeronautical engineer. I reside in Oklahoma City, Midwest City to be exact, which is about 3 miles from Tinker Air Force Base. For years I have worked as a contractor with major OEM contracting companies, and recently the corporation I was working for has some fairly poor management and neglected to find additional work for us. When the R2 funding ran out, so did our contract. So we ended up being laid off. It's unfortunate. You would have thought that by now I would have been able to find another position fairly quickly. The problem is I'm a senior mechanical engineer, and I'm used to making fairly good money. You can get yourself another engineer right out of college, or maybe with somebody that has about 5 years experience, but you're not going to get the same quality that you're going to get out of me. You're going to get something a whole lot different. And the fact is that those engineers are still going to have somebody like me that they can come to and ask questions. So I'm used to that. In the federal industry, these people are very interesting to work with. You have to understand certain characteristics about the people. How the program works with the government. It includes the federal regulations that are quite confusing sometimes. These are all things that I know how to do. Over the years, these are the things that you learn how to do. When you have been in a position like I have been, you get acquainted fairly quickly on how to manipulate and find TO systems, TCOs, and where to find them. I know that was a little redundant, but my mind was traveling back to all the trouble that I used to have in finding TOs. Would you believe, unfortunately, a lot of these TO managers are contractors, and they've turned in to an equated federal employee, and they don't like to do anything. The unfortunate thing about that is that I end up having to then characterize them, and I don't like doing that. But they are what they are. So during that process of learning how to get around those stone walls, I've found out how to become part of the system when it comes to TOs. I know how to make changes to TOs. It's a very long process to do. I know and understand the paperwork, and a lot of people don't understand that when you do a TO modification, they think that that's it. That's not it. You end up having to requalify your statement every single year until you finally get it integrated into the TO system, and then it becomes part of the Bible. I only tell you that in detail so that you'll know. And as somebody who's going to be looking for someone like me, they're going to want me as a lead engineer in a government setting as a contractor to make them money. And that's what I'm used to doing. I integrate myself extremely well into the federal employee realm, almost to the point where they really don't even give it any thought if I'm a contractor or not. They just consider me as one of them. That's an advantage, especially when it comes to funding and understanding what type of forms that you have to fill out for that kind of funding, how to manipulate it, I hate using that word, but when it comes to government, it seems like manipulation is one of the top priority things to do, because they really don't want to do what they are tasked to do. But you have to figure out a way to manipulate the system just enough to encourage them to be able to do their job. Ridiculous, isn't it? But it is. That's the way it is. I'm very, very good at what I do. I understand the KC-135 weapon system, the B-52, the B-1 bomber. I've been around these aircraft for many, many years. There's not one thing on that aircraft that I don't know or I don't understand. I have a great deal of hydraulic experience, pneumatics, not much on avionics. You would have thought somewhere along the line I would have gotten some sort of avionics exposure, but I haven't. About as close as I've gotten to it is by being a pilot myself and understanding what everything is being used for. So my expertise is really in systems, hydraulic systems, landing gear. My father was also a mechanical engineer, and he was also the inventor on plasma spray. That was his program that he came up with. He was working for a corporation called Arvin Industries, and I was also there firsthand to be able to learn how the system actually works. What this plasma spray was doing, it's a liquid metal is really what it is, and it's fused into a cylinder that has been traced out by a lathe to whatever the dimensions it has to be on inside that cylinder. And then it's remachined, and then you have a workable cylinder. But before it goes through that process, naturally you have NDIs, radiograph, dye penetrant type of non-destruction inspection, that kind of stuff. So I have a great deal of exposure in that area. My latest position was with CMXG, which is the commodities group on flight control surfaces. So, and for the B-52, KC-135, and also the E-3. And not necessarily just for the A, it can be for any revision. We also handled the aircrafts for Saudi Arabia and some of the other third world countries that we still continue to support out there. So I'm very familiar with fixtures and understanding that really, you know, the fixture is probably a very important feature to me, though it isn't for a lot of other people, because they don't want to have to deal with it. Once when you start working with a fixture, then you have to start working with the actual details of the dimensions, and you have to understand how to shoot that system and to recalibrate it. Unfortunately, a lot of your government employees do not have a clue of how that works, and they only know that if they take a door and they put it into this fixture and it works for them, and then they can take it and refit it to the aircraft, that's good enough. But how many aircraft do we have out there? We have about 749 fleet of KC-135s, okay? And not every aircraft is the same. They may look the same on the surface, but each one is custom built. Not every door is going to be identical. And the reason for that is, even as much as you want it to be, the reason for that is because you have a human man factor that's involved, and he loses the interpretation from me as the engineer to the guy who actually does the mechanical work. So that's where my hands-on experience comes, is because if I'm going to be able to give direction to the sheet metal team that's on the line that's actually doing the manufacturing, I have to have enough hands-on experience to be able to gain their respect, so they can say, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying, because I happen to have the same kind of detail problem, and this is what I do to do it. He goes, but I like your idea. So what I've done there is I've gained, his respect, and I also have gained a bond, because when I come down onto the floor to talk with these guys, they know that I'm not just some idiot that just got out of school, that I've been there for a while, and they can count on my experience in leading them in the right way, because really all they want is the right product. In order to be able to do that, you have to know what the heck it is that you're talking about, not just one part of it. You have to know all of the segment, the entire process of how it works, right from the conception of that item right to the time of graveyard of that particular item. Everything has paperwork that goes along with it. I understand that paperwork. If you have any kind of interest, please give me a call or email me. My email address is rhulette@aol.com. Let me give it to you one more time. It's rhulette@aol.com. rhulette@aol.com. Thank you for taking the time of listening to me ramble. Good day.